Hello ladies and gents, and welcome back to DCS World. Today, I thought we'd race a few choppers around Dubai. Now, our starting grid is as follows. We have a Hip in first place, we have a Halo in second, then we have a Hind in third, and the Black Shark in fourth. The track starts with quite a big straight going downtown into Dubai, into a sharp left-hander going all the way up to the top of a man-made island and down back towards the city, into another left-hander which takes us down another long straight into a very long right-hander, which I feel like might be enough to throw off some choppers, so we might see some quite big changes to the race there. Anyway, right-hander carries on all the way through, out to sea and across the finish line. Now, all of these helicopters have 25% of their fuel loads. They're all on random skills, so it should be different every single time, but we're only going to do this once. And yeah, let's see what happens. Hope you guys enjoy. Okay, there are no lights, but lights out and away we go. The Hind and the Halo get a very good start, getting away from both the Black Shark and the Hip almost immediately off the line down the straight. Let's have a look at the Hip, who is unfortunately falling behind the KA50 at the moment, which is surprising considering the size of that rotor span. Back to the front markers. The Halo is going for altitude in front of the Hind. He's probably going to dive down and turn that altitude into speed. The Hind is doing the same thing. He's close enough to the Halo to the point where it shouldn't make too much of a difference if he makes a mistake here. Saying that, the Halo is pulling away from the Hind like there's no tomorrow. That rotor span of the Halo is huge. Along into the straight we go, and the Halo is making very, very good ground against the Hind here, as we can see, as they fly off into the distance here. Followed by the Hip and the KA50, who by the looks of things has fallen into last place. So the Hip has managed to get in front of the Black Shark. That's interesting. Now, here's the Black Shark, as we can see, flying along with those contra props. I imagine that's going to do him a world of favours when he goes into the straights here. As we can see, the Hip is just in front of him there, going for altitudes, climbing over these buildings. Halo is still making very, very good pace, and we're about to go into the left-hander along the man-made island as we take a look behind the Halo here. As we can see, the three helicopters behind him. Halo's got a huge gap right now. I'm not entirely sure how the other choppers are going to catch him. Maybe he'll make a mistake through this left-hander here because the Halo is big, which means it's not going to perform the best in straights. Now, here is the Hind, who's actually catching up with the Halo. I imagine that's because he's so agile compared to something like the Halo. Followed by the, I think that's the Hip and the Black Shark. Now, Hind is going for altitude here. I think he's going to try and do what the Halo did. He's going to get that altitude and dive down, get some speed in an attempt to catch up. Now, the two back markers there, the Black Shark and the Hip, were battling out for third place. And as far as I can tell, I think that is the... I can't tell who's in third place actually, they're very close together. Anyway, let's take a look at the Halo, who once again is setting the pace very, very well. But what's that? Something shooting at us. This is interesting. It's a tank. There's a T90. Oh, I think he's trying to spice things up a little bit. Anyway, Halo gets through completely unscathed. Next up is the Hind. Now, the Hind is known as the flying tank for obvious reasons, but will it be able to withstand the force of a T90? Well, I can't say yes or no, considering that the T90 is incapable of hitting the Hind by the looks of it, so that's interesting. So yes, just like the Halo, the Hind gets through completely unscathed. But what about our Black Shark and the Hip? Both gunners opening fire on either of the helicopters. Looks like they get through as well, but it certainly panicked them for a little bit, which may affect their pace around this right-hander back into the city here. Anyway, Halo is once again getting a bigger gap. That didn't make any sense, but nonetheless, Halo is very far in front as we look behind here and see that the Black Shark has actually extended his lead over the hip here. Like I said, I imagine those contra-rotating rotors have something to do with that, but they are once again under fire from the T-90 in front of the building there. Luckily, doesn't look like that big anti-aircraft machine gun there is doing much damage, but what's this? The KA-50 is cut behind off. The KA-50, a Black Shark, has moved up into second place. This is amazing, as we see the hip here, who's unfortunately fallen back into fourth place. He's going to need a miracle to get a podium position here, but nonetheless, he's putting in a very valiant effort, and anything can happen. We're not even halfway through the race. So, back through the buildings we go. I imagine it will be the more agile choppers here who will have an edge, as the KA-50 is actually managing to catch up to behind, who is ditching his altitude in an attempt to build up some more speed. Now, look at this halo here. He's got loads of room to play with. He can climb over these buildings and do whatever he likes within reason. And I imagine he's going to be very, very fast down the straight, which is just up next. So, anything can happen. I imagine a few positions are going to be swapped here, as we can see behind doing what the Halo was doing, trying to climb over these buildings. Although saying that, while he is climbing up, I imagine the Black Shark there is actually going to catch up to him. He's going around the buildings instead of climbing over them. And the hip is falling back once again, trying to climb over those buildings. Poor hip all the way back in fourth place. Now the Black Shark looks like he's ditching his altitudes here. Behind is climbing up and matching altitudes with the Halo. Now the hip has actually managed to overtake behind by taking the corner wide and going around the outside. But who will win in a straight? Will it be rotor spam or just sheer power that will prevail? Only time will tell. Now let's have a look at the Halo, who's beelining it all the way down this straight here. He's putting in all the power those two 11,000 horsepower engines can give him, flying off into the distance here. Behind is catching up by the looks of things, because I imagine an attack helicopter will definitely hold the advantage over like a troop transport helicopter. But in any case, I'd say they're quite evenly matched in speeds, because well, behind is smaller, it's more agile, the Halo is massive, it can run on one engine, but you know, that's what 11,000 horsepower gets you, I suppose, and that's on each engine as well. Anyway, here we go. Hind is taking the inside line around these corners here. Let's have a look at the KA-50, who has actually caught up with the hip. It looks like the KA-50 has actually got the straight line speeds over the hip. I imagine most contra-rotating props do actually hold the edge over the hip here. And slowly but surely, the Black Shark is breezing past the hip absolutely effortlessly, which actually puts the Black Shark back up into third place. We're seeing excellent battles going on between these two. I wonder what will happen by the end of the race. Anyway, back to the front runners. We can see from the Halo that the Hind is definitely catching up now. This could prove very interesting as we enter the city and go into a long right-hander where I imagine the more agile helicopters will prevail. It's just a matter of avoiding all the buildings in the city before that, because obviously you can't exactly win a race or when your vehicle is, well, blown into smithereens. Anyway, Halo going for altitude. He has a little bit of room to play with against the Hind. Is the Hind going to take advantage of this? I think he is. He's climbing after the Halo here, and I imagine the Hind will be able to be a bit more aggressive in his manoeuvres where he is a little bit more agile. And I was correct. As we can see, the Hind has actually caught up with the Halo. This is getting very, very close now. We may be able to see the right-hand corner soon enough. Looks like the Hind is actually trying to climb over the Halo here. But he is unable to do so as the Halo manages to get away from him just in time. This is good stuff. As both our choppers here fly off. Anyway, as we can see from the Black Shark, the hip has definitely fallen behind once again. He appears to be struggling in the straights. Poor guy. He's putting in a very good effort nonetheless. From the Halo we can see he's going into the right-hander with the Hind following very, very closely behind. You can see these pillars here which are marking the corners for our fantastic pilots here. Now, Behind appears to be wanting to cut the halo off round the inside. I'm not sure if he'll be able to pull this off. If he can, that will be an absolutely heroic move from our hind pilot here. This is good stuff. Like I said, I imagine the hind will hold the edge, or have the edge rather, because he's slightly more agile. An attack helicopter can obviously be a bit more aggressive in terms of maneuvering compared to something like the Halo, where it's so big, so heavy. Like I said, both helicopters, or all helicopters, are on 25% of their initial fuel load, so they are slightly lighter. We've taken all the pylons off if applicable. Unfortunately, we cannot do that with the hinds because the winglets are structural, I suppose. Let's have a look behind us. We can see the KA-50 Black Shark is holding a comfortable third place with the Hip nowhere to be found, although he definitely has some catching up to do. Now, here is the Hip. You can see the front markers just off in the distance there. Poor Hip, he does have a lot of work to do if he wants to finish on the podium. Now, it looks like the Halo has actually come off the track. He's taken it too wide. He's putting too much speed, which could mean the hind has a very, very good opportunity to overtake here. The hind could potentially finish in first place. Now it looks like the Halo is trying to rejoin the circuit with the hind cutting underneath him. What could happen here? Oh my life. Oh, contact is about to be made. Oh, and it's disaster for the Halo. He comes clean off the circuit, which puts the hind up into P1. The hind is in first place. The Halo came off the track. He doesn't know what to do. I think he's lost the circuit. This means that the Black Shark might be able to move up into second place, which means if the Halo fails to get back on the track, the Hip will actually finish in a podium position. And as we can see, the Black Shark is catching up to the hind who has been climbing. The hind pilot notices him, ditches his altitude, and it should be a relatively simple finish from here. It's just through this chicane, along the river, over the line, and that will be P1 for the hind. As we can see him flying past him, putting in all the power those two engines can give him. I'm sure the Hip will be very happy about this. The Hip might be able to finish in a podium position after all. This is getting good. Now as we can see, Hind's going through these last few gates. This is getting good. Once again putting in all the power those two engines can give him. As he crosses the line and takes the win of the race. That was absolutely fantastic. The Hind is an absolute machine. I love this helicopter. Now, let's take a closer look at the Black Shark, who is closely following the Hind in second place. Black Shark will take these chicanes absolutely effortlessly because it's so agile with those contra-rotating rotors, as we can see here. Capable of turning rather quickly with that vertical stabilizer as well. No tail rotor because that would be making mob drag, and it's completely unnecessary on a contra-rotating rotor design. But yes, as we can see, Black Shark going through the final gate, and the Black Shark takes second place. A brilliant effort from our KA-50 pilot here. Now let's take a look at the Hip. Has he overtaken the Halo? Yes, he has. Halo is only just rejoining the circuit here, as the Hip is putting in one last sprint over the second to last gate. And over the last gate, which means the MI8 MTV Hip has finished in third place. A brilliant comeback and a valiant effort from all three crew members in the MI8 Hip there. And as we can see, the MI26 Halo still struggling to rejoin the circuit, which means he will eventually finish in fourth place. An absolute disastrous race for the Halo. Anyway, here are the results. Hind in P1, Black Shark P2, Hip P3 and Halo P4. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you want to check out my channel, or support it rather, go and check out the merch store. Link is in the description. Again, thank you ever so much for watching. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye!